Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Shawn Khunkhun, President and CEO of Dolly Varden Silver. We're doing the backstage interview for the Metals Investor Forum. Shawn, thanks for taking some time out to dig a little deeper with us on Dolly Varden.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Peter. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get started. Shawn, your flagship project is in the Golden Triangle in northern BC. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the project and why this district is so important these days.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. No, the Golden Triangle. I used to say it was a top five mining camp on the planet, but I think in recent years that's moved up to top three, and I think we're threatening to go to number one. It's an area that since 2017 with Pretium's Brucejack mine going into production, and the Red Chris mine, which is a Newcrest Imperial Metals venture. Those are the two big mines that are operating in the area. And the BC government was very forward looking. They brought in roads, they brought in power. They've made it They've made it very easy and open for companies like Dolly Varden to operate. So, we're blessed with infrastructure. We're blessed with First Nations groups. Like we're in Nisga'a territory. So the Nisga'a in BC were the first First Nations group to sign a modern treaty. So we've got a third of our workforce from Nisga'a Nation. We've got a license to operate in the area. We've got a BC government that's extremely pro mining. We're actually part of an organization, Peter, the BC Regional Mining Alliance, that is an opportunity for the government, for industry, and for First Nations to come together and work towards solutions. So it's a great opportunity for us to work through challenges and to voice concerns, but also share in with some of these great opportunities. So the Golden Triangle, we've seen companies like Newcrest, Newmont, more recently Yamana come in and make very, very significant investments. And the reason for it is, it's one of the highest concentrations of metals anywhere on the planet. It's got great grades, but I think the real story is it's underexplored. It's underexplored. And the big recent phenomenon here in the last 10 years is you've got glaciers and ice receding and new exploration corridors opening up. So it's a higher gold price, a higher silver price. It's better infrastructure, and it's melting ice that's really made the Golden Triangle this tremendous opportunity.
Shawn, you mentioned grade, and I know that your flagship consists of four deposits, Torbrit being the main one. Can you tell us overall, and perhaps for Torbrit specifically, what the grade is like and how ultimately this might be mined, and maybe a little bit about the environmental footprint that you would leave behind?
Sure. So historically, the Dolly Varden silver mine was an 1,100 gram per ton mine. There's a lot of very, very high grade, kilo grade silver that is spread across our property. The challenge is getting tonnage with that grade. So where we see tonnage and grade come together is closer to the 450 gram per ton area. So if you look at the Torbrit mine, Torbrit produced 18 million ounces at around 500 grams per ton. The 25 million ounces that we have indicated at Torbrit today, and there's another 10 million ounces inferred, is an average grade of about 300 grams per ton. What I'm starting to see, though, last season is we were starting to see some elevated grades. So some of the resource estimate was relying on 1960s drilling that was done. And we're seeing that with some of the modern drill holes that we've drilled in 2020, that we're seeing higher grades. So the resource, it'll be interesting to see the next time we put out a resource estimate if those grades were a little bit understated. But there's tremendous opportunity. And the thing I love about this project is you have these basins that have collected big tonnage at really, really, really good grades. But then you've got this epithermal overprint that brings in these kilo grades, and you have them in the same system. So from a mining perspective, you're looking at an underground mine. You're looking at this is a really wide ore body, so it's potentially amenable to bulk mining methods, but ultimately it's a very, very small footprint. And I think whether you're in Canada or whether you're in the US, there's a big move to minimal disturbance, and I think it's one of our it's one of our strengths, and it's one of our competitive advantages, is that this is an underground system, and not only is it an underground system, Peter, but there's 7 kilometers of underground workings that are already in place. So that infrastructure that's already in place, that has all been modernized. It's a huge competitive advantage for us.
So, Shawn, you mentioned grade and how you're hitting some higher grades than what you've seen in the historical resource. And I guess I'd like to ask, why do you think that is? Is it more modern techniques for exploration that have provided that kind of result?
There's probably a combination from assay methods to just what's endowed on the property. But we had a twofold strategy last season where we wanted to really vector into the higher grades. We were really on a hunt for some of those kilo type materials, particularly when we started the season and the silver price was $16, $17. It was a real focus to grade is king. And let's look for ore bodies that are going to be at the lowest cost percentile from a mining perspective. As the silver price put on 50% last season, we were starting to hone into larger disseminated areas as well.
Okay. Maybe we can touch on one last point, and you can give us an overview of the kind of exploration success you've had so far. I guess, if we go back over the past year or so.
Sure. So, one of the things that attracted me to this opportunity to run Dolly Varden, this is not a company that I founded. This is a company that I came in to take over and to run in February 2020. And as I was watching Dolly Varden over the years, 2017, 18, 19, I was always compelled by the discovery success that the exploration team was having. This is a 100-year-old camp that has been worked on, rigorously at different times in history. And you would think that, a lot of the exploitation and a lot of the opportunity and a lot of the discovery was going to be in the past. But I've just been, I've been humbled by how successful and these wide high-grade intercepts. Last season, our highlight hole was 45 meters of 300 grams per ton silver. There was some higher grade intercepts over shorter intervals, but that was just a beautiful hole. That was we had boxes and boxes and boxes of this mineralization that we were into. So this season, what I'd love to produce for our shareholders and for the project is to continue on the success of trying to validate this idea that these 4 separate areas, deposits, 2 were mines, that we think of as, I want to show that they're potentially part of one basin system, okay, one Torbrit horizon. So that's one of the goals here this season. And then the other goal is we've allocated 50% of our budget to go and find another one, to go and find another Torbrit. And so we've gone to areas that have never been drilled on the property before. These are high risk, high reward holes. These are the types of holes that would be very torquey for our share price and could add a lot of ounces. And so I hope to deliver on both fronts. And, we're going to have assays probably starting sometime in October, going right through till January, February. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of results. And then we'll go right back at it in 2022, armed with $20 million in the bank. And whatever we drilled this year, I envision, 2.5 times more, starting the season with multiple rigs, And it's going to be a very, very aggressive next 18 months for Dolly Varden.
It does sound like even the next sort of 6 to 12 months will bring a lot of catalysts or potential catalysts, and will make following the story very exciting.
Yes, thank you, Peter.
Certainly look forward to that. Absolutely. Well, thanks, Shawn, for your time, and appreciate the update.
Good to see you, and all the best.